Students, welcome to lecture 21 in Biopharmaceutics and Pharmacokinetics. As you know that we are discussing a series of lecture in biopharmaceutical considerations in developing a dosage form. So in continuation to that, today's topic is based upon drug product and other considerations like the patient considerations, pharmacodynamic and pharmacokinetic considerations which should be considered in developing a dosage form. So the lecture outline for today is we are going to discuss about drug product considerations, and in that we will be discussing therapeutic window and size of the dose, factors affecting size of the dose. Then we will come across with the topic of desirable shape, sizes of the doses, and convenient creative packaging. Then we will discuss about patient considerations and pharmacodynamic considerations. These all are the factors which are considered in developing a dosage form, and these are part of biopharmaceutical considerations. So what are the drug product considerations which are important to consider in developing a dosage form? So while considering drug product and how it affects formulation process, number one, knowledge of the pharmacokinetic profile of drug is important to estimate the appropriate amount, which is also called dose of the drug in drug product, and the release rate that will maintain a desired drug level in the body to achieve and maintain the target drug concentration. So basically, what are the drug product concentrations? That whatever the drug is in that specific drug product, what is its pharmacokinetic profile? Because what is pharmacokinetics? It is kinetics of absorption, metabolism, distribution, and elimination, which might include the excretion process and the simple, you can say, metabolites elimination process from the body, or metabolism or the biliary excretion process as well. So pharmacokinetic profile is extremely important to know whenever drug product considerations are being taken into account, as because of this is the main factor that determines that what will be the appropriate amount, which in other words is declared as dose that would be required for that specific drug product. And so in order to attain and maintain that dose, what should be the release rate that will maintain the desired drug level within the body? Because it is uh, important to understand that the release rate determines the type of the drug product. For example, there are immediate release products, there are controlled release drug delivery systems, there are specific targeted drug delivery systems. So all delivery systems and release rates are basically aimed at controlling or um, want to supply the amount of drug, which is called also called the dose, at a certain level, and then to achieve it and maintain it. So that level is a certain therapeutic level which is desirable. So these factors are important whenever we talk about the drug product considerations. So as we were talking about the dose, what the dose is related to, dose basically determines or helps to achieve the desired plasma drug concentration, and how to determine the desired plasma drug concentration, that is done with the help of therapeutic window. So now we are going to discuss therapeutic window and desired plasma drug concentration. So the desired or target plasma drug concentration is determined on the basis of therapeutic window. Desired drug concentration is the one that provides therapeutic effectiveness with minimal side effects. So, drug concentration which is higher than the therapeutic window, for example, minimum toxic concentration may cause more intense pharmacodynamic or toxic response. Um, Students, as you know, that therapeutic window is basically a space or gap between two levels of concentration. One is which is called a minimum effective concentration, while the other one is the minimum toxic concentration. Is that if the level is below minimum effective concentration, then the chances are that the level would be subtherapeutic. One won't be able to achieve the therapeutic response, which is the desired one for which the drug is being administered. And similarly, if it crosses the minimum toxic concentration, it is the patient could be subjected to experiencing intense pharmacodynamic, which could be called the toxic response. So it is important to keep in mind that these two levels are important to achieve and control. Minimum effective concentration is important to achieve. Minimum toxic concentration is important to avoid and not to cross. So, what is desired concentration? That would be lying within these two limits. And this desired level or concentration actually is linked with the dose, as we were discussing previously, that whenever we are considering various drug product considerations, one of the important factors is pharmacokinetic profile, that how the drug would be absorbed, how would be the bioavailability. But when we are talking about the bioavailability and how much amount we require the dose to be present within the body or to reach at the site of action, that is dose. And dose then in turn determines that is linked to therapeutic window, that dose would be determined on the basis of the therapeutic window, that how much is required to achieve minimally and then how much is required to not to cross the limit, and then it determines the release rate. What should be the release rate to maintain this level, to maintain the dose or the concentrations within the desired therapeutic window or limits, and not to cross it or not to achieve the level below the minimum effective concentration. So you can see that all these things are linked: pharmacokinetic profile, then the dose, then release rate, and then the desired drug concentration, which is again linked to therapeutic window, and it is determined on the basis of therapeutic window. So for drugs with a narrow therapeutic window, knowledge of pharmacokinetic profile enhances drug therapy for many drug products through the development of an appropriate dosage regimen, including the size of the dose and the dosing frequency. So what does it mean that uh, what happens that as we already discussed the multiple dosage regimen, and you know that multiple dosage regimen basic concept is revolves around that what should be the dose and what should be the size, what should be the size of the dose and what should be the frequency, that with how much intervals or with how much gap the doses should be delivered or administered to the patient, and so you are able to achieve and maintain a certain level of drug concentration. And oftentimes when there are multiple doses being administered, you are more concerned about the steady state concentration, and that is a concentration which is the maximally desired concentration, and which is the one which is inside the therapeutic window. It is not crossing the toxic minimum toxic concentration, and you are able to maintain that. So there would be one loading dose, and then there are maintenance doses, and when you achieve the steady state concentration, then you are able to maintain that. So anyhow, when once you are able to understand the desired concentration by therapeutic window, by knowing the pharmacokinetic profile, you are able to develop a dosage regimen which would be the size of the dose and its frequency. So these are the basic considerations which are related to a drug product. So as you were talking about size of the dose, which plays important role in determining the desired concentration is within the therapeutic window or not. So it is important to understand that size of the dose is how it is affecting with what kind of underlying mechanism or factors. So one of the important factors is inherent potency of drug. How much a drug is potent is extremely important to consider. Because for a potent drug, the therapeutic window would certainly be very narrow, and what will happen that at very low concentration will start, you can expect the drug to start its action, and at sufficiently lower concentration you can expect the drug to possess the minimum toxic concentration. So it is important to consider these two factors. Then along with the inherent potency, which determines the size of the dose, which would be definitely lesser in case of the drug which are highly potent, it is important to see that how much is the apparent volume distribution that uh, concomitantly along with the potency factor of the drug can affect the overall size of the dose of the drug, because for the drugs which got a higher or greater volume distribution, usually it is an important factor to consider that those would be having lesser concentration within the blood, and those would be more preferably distributed. But it doesn't mean at all that as their concentration is low within the blood, so definitely they need the size of the dose should be required to increase. It totally depends that where the site of the action of the drug is concerned. Like for the drugs which are highly lipophilic, but their site of action is usually concerned with those areas which are the deeper tissues within the body, like the brain areas or the various neuromuscular junctions. So in that situation, actually the apparent volume of distribution which is higher is helping the drug to reach far areas, and so in little doses the drug will be performing its action. I think you can understand this point that though apparent volume of distribution is important to consider, that how much should be the size of the dose, but along with that it is very important to understand that where is the site of action of the drug which is under the question. So these factors affect then size of the dose. Actually, size of the dose is not that simple factor. As you can see that a lot of factors are affecting the size of the dose. You need to understand pharmacokinetic profile of the drug. You need to understand that how the and then the peripheral things which are important to consider are that what should be the release rate, what should be the route of administration, what should be the dosage form. Then definitely those are the exterior factors which should be considered while developing a dosage form, and those are also considered as the drug product considerations. But as far as the main drug product consideration is concerned, which is important to be considered while developing a dosage form, is a dose and how it would be helping to attain a certain desired concentration within therapeutic window. So above mentioned factors determine the plasma drug concentration needed for the desired drug therapeutic effect. So, few drugs are subjected to a big range of inter-subject variability in pharmacokinetics and bioavailability of the drug. For them, the size of the dose needs to be adjusted. As you know, that inter-subject variability is dependent on certain factors. Subjects are different from each other because of their age, gender, genotype. Now, uh, genotype is playing very important role because as you know that certain enzymes transporters are actually a genetic expression. Certain subjects would be having them in greater quantities while the other would be having lesser quantities of the very same enzymes or transporters, or might be in a mutated form. So what happens that subjects are not the same as far as the metabolism or transport or the various factors related to these proteins factors are concerned, are not subjects are not the same, though apparently you would be giving the same dose and you would be expecting the same results because in your head you are administering the dose to a human, to the humans of the same kind, but their natures are different. The genetic expression is different, which is controlling factor for various enzymes, their mutations, or they are in the wild form, or what are their quantities which are being expressed, and that is definitely controlling the pharmacokinetics because these are controlling or affecting the absorption and metabolism to a larger extent, and so the bioavailability of the drug would be affected. So size of the dose needs to be adjusted, and this is a concept which is emerging very fastly in the last decade, and which is called the personalized medicine, which is this idea is based upon the fact that the medicine needs to be personalized, means a person, uh, it should be adjusted according to the needs and demands of a specific person based on their age, gender, genotype, and even the racial, ethnic factors, even the geographical factors sometimes need to be considered. So several dose strengths. So as we were discussing that various factors will be affecting the dose, and intersubject variability also plays important role in selection of a suitable dose. So it would be a brilliant idea to design whatever drug product is in to be available in several dose strengths. And usually we see that most of the time, like you see in case of oral drug solid dosage forms, that tablets, capsules are usually available in 2 or 3 strengths. So the level or the frequency of strengths for the different doses or dosage forms can be increased, and it can allow the individualized dosing. For example, if it is considered that according to the personalized medicine concept, if a patient is requiring a separate sort of dose, then either there should be this option that a separate dose strength is available in that drug product, or another option which is now being frequently considered all over the world, that is fractional dosing. And what is this concept? That usually the product is designed in such a way that from the manufacturer side, that usually there are big breakage points, and fraction of the dose can be extracted or separated from a certain product, and whatever is the individual need of the patient. So fractional dosing is also another concept which serves the same purpose, to provide the dose in the required dosage according to the individual need. So either the dose, several dose strengths should be available, or a fractional dosing concept should be promoted, and along with that various other strategies could be adopted to fulfill the individual needs. Okay, so after determining the size of the dose, size of drug product is important factor being affected by the dose of the drug, and excipient added to the manufacturer the desired dosage form. In case of solid dosage forms, if dose exceeds 1 gram or more, then the swallowing difficulty may arise. As we discussed, that firstly it is important that what should be size of the dose. Then after that, determining the size of the dose, size of the drug product also becomes extremely important, because then we have to add the excipients into that, and that collectively can result in abnormal dosage sizes. And in case of solid oral dosage forms, if dose exceeds 1 gram or more, then the swallowing difficulty may arise. And for instance, a capsule-shaped tablet, or which is also called caplet, is more desirable to be swallowed by a patient as compared to a large round tablet. So, large tablets up to undesirable extents are usually not designed by any manufacturer, that may cause swallowing difficulty. So this is very important factor to keep in mind, that manufacturers will themselves won't design such a shape or size which is extremely inconvenient for the patient to get swallowed, or which may cause irritation later on, like large tablets of undesirable sizes get lodged in esophageal or sphincter regions and may cause extremely inconvenient and sometimes local irritation in that area. So, for example, is of potassium chloride tablets. Older patients may have more difficulties in swallowing larger tablets and capsules. So, um, this is also important that for to know for the manufacturers or the pharmacists, those who are developing a new dosage form, that older patients may find it extremely inconvenient that if the size or the shape of the capsules or the tablets is extremely inconveniently large. So these are the factors which should be kept in mind, that the size and shape in several ways could cause inconvenience, it could cause local irritation, and to certain age patients it could be a trouble. Now, dosing frequency is another important factor which needs to be considered. It is also something which is related to drug product. Dosing frequency is related to the clearance of the drug and target plasma drug concentration. Um, Drugs with shorter half-lives have shorter duration of action. They are more rapidly cleared from the body, so the drug should be given more frequently. Now, this is a problem because it might result in fluctuation of the desired drug concentrations if a patient is not complying to frequent dosing, or let's suppose dose is missed or is not given in time. That might result in fluctuation of drug concentration. So there is a solution for the manufacturer that they could design extended drug release product, and an extended release product contains two or more doses of the drug that are released over a prolonged period of time. It is helpful in maintaining the desired drug concentration for a long period of time and not fluctuating at all. So this is much more desirable dosage form or drug design for the final drug product. Now, patient considerations. One of the factors among many is which are considered in developing a dosage form is patient considerations as well. So, patient considerations include the factors that how acceptable a certain drug product to a patient is, or to the consumer popularity of a drug product is, which further depends on various factors like whether there is some difficulty in swallowing a patient is experiencing. This will definitely affect the desirability of a drug product. Disagreeable odor or taste. Sometimes taste is bitter, and patient will abruptly reject it if the patient is not of that much age. If the patient is a younger patient, usually the taste become a major issue for them. Too frequent or unusual dosage requirements. Sometimes it is dosage requirement take it after every 2 hours, or take it too frequently. Sometimes it is at the middle of the night. So there is so unusual dosage requirement that patient won't be able to comply in that even if they want so. So these all factors then make a patient to decide whether a drug product is acceptable or not, and these are what you call patient considerations. Like you are when you are looking at a product from a patient's point of view, that how the patient would find it, no matter how effective is the drug, no matter how effective is the drug product, but if that is convenient to the patient to take or administer to them, and the timings, taste, their size, shape, they are odd or unusual, then definitely these are the important patient considerations which are should be taken into account before you design the final product. Creative packaging in recent years has played a huge role in increasing the patient compliance, and definitely it is important factor which has been taken into account from a patient consideration point of view. So creative packaging has played major role in enhancement of the patient compliance, so that one tablet is removed each day from a specially designed package. It helps to avoid missing the dose. As the patient uses a tablet or certain dose, that would be removed from that package. Now what will happen that the next time when the patient will, and usually these packages are also associated with buzzers or certain colors of the day associated with certain days of the weeks. So there are a lot of creative adjustments which are made to these packages according to the need and requirement of the patient. And this basically this helps to increase their compliance with the dose, and especially in case of those treatments where compliance to the dose is extremely important. Then pharmacodynamic factors are also important to consider. Pharmacodynamic factors such as side effects of the drug or an allergic reaction also influence the patient compliance, no matter how useful therapeutic effect of a drug is. But if that drug is associated with a lot of side effects, and it had happened in the history of the medication that many drugs have been are now obsolete in their use, or they are not being used that frequently, mainly because of their side effects, though their therapeutic effects are highly desirable, and that's why they are still in the market and being used, but for certain instances and certain situations rather than frequent and normal use, because of their extremely large range of side effects. So, and similarly, if a certain product has too much propensity towards allergenic reactions, that would also decrease its demand and patient would avoid it. So these are the pharmacodynamic factors which also play important role, like how the product would be accepted by the patient.